Morant, Allen Iverson comes. I think he's a D Rose AI like hype.
I actually think he's like I've said this before. He's a combination of Derrick Rose and Russell Westbrook with the athleticism. He's a little bit better of a shooter than those two players, but then around the rim, he has the finishing ability, able to swirl up in the air like a Kyrie Irving.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of my three-headed combo.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Three good names to be connected to. Also, they're going to get that. Producer Sam riding with me is a Dirk truther. Earl Boykins. I haven't heard that name in about 10 years.
I think if you're a Mavs fan, chances are that it's a Dirk thing.
Maybe 20 years from now it's Luka. Who knows? There's no doubt about that. You can also shout out your favorite NBA team. And coming up in a few minutes, we'll catch you guys up on the latest NBA news and rumors. Lots of team stuff to get into as well. So shout out your favorite player, shout out your favorite team here in the comments. Levante's in Chicago. We got the Saturday Lights, Brandon Hill, Michael Jordan in the chat as well. Levante's also a Bulls fan, so keep that in mind as well as we continue to progress here on Chat Sports. You excited for the playoffs? We got about 20 and some change?
Yeah, about 20 games left. I can't wait because I think the races in the East and the West, they're awesome. With Chris Paul out with the Suns, it's kind of made the West a little bit more wide open. The Golden State Warriors are slumping a little bit, whereas the Dallas Mavericks and the Memphis Grizzlies are really shrinking. And then the whole back half end of the West is really up for grabs. And then the East, not many games determining, and not really a big gap between the top teams in the Eastern Conference and some of those lower teams in the playoffs.
Which brings us to our next question. Who's going to win the finals? We can kind of go round table here. We got producer Sam with us as well.
Yeah, you're going to love my expert prediction here.
Expert prediction, Sam, big NBA guy.
I do like the NBA. I'm not acting like I'm an idiot here. Let me pull up the standings here just so I can remember just
Let's go. While you're thinking that, I'm going to go in each conference. I'm going to stick with Phoenix. If Chris Paul gets healthy, I don't like how Golden State is trending. So I'm going to go with Phoenix out of the West, and I'm going to, I don't want to jinx it, Chase. I'm going to go with the 76ers, with Phoenix winning the chip. You know what? Chris Paul and James Harden, a couple former teammates who are both desperate for that title. I think Chris Paul finally gets it this year, assuming he gets back and healthy for the playoffs.
There's nothing more I'd love to see than a Sixers berth in the NBA Finals. Haven't seen it since 2001. Right now, I think it's way too early to say that Harden and Embiid are going to lead them to the East, which is really a gauntlet. I think Miami is the team to beat. I think they're the toughest team. They're the most well-coached team with the best coach. And offensively and defensively, they're really well-rounded. And they obviously have the experience that the Sixers don't with the deep playoff run. So I like Miami, but I think the Sixers are in the mix.
So we'll see what happens on that front. Sam?
I'm gonna go with Philly. A lot of recency bias here. I think if you watch the last 3 games, you're like, yeah.
Their offense looks unstoppable.
Philly's kind of the real deal, yeah. So I'm gonna go with Philly out of the East, and I'm actually gonna go with Golden State out of the West. I don't know, something about just Chris Paul's right hand, his thumb, just kind of worries me. It's the same thing that the injury.
You fucking kidding me, y'all? That's stupid, man. That's stupid.
5-6 years ago. So,
damn, y'all be getting fucked, yo. Every game I get fucked, man. That's a bad call, man. What happened?
In the NBA playoffs, like Chase said, we got about 20 games and some change to go before we get to mid-April. And playoffs are here.
Fuck.
Okay, what do we got coming up here? You're going to get to the latest NBA news and rumors off the top here. A lot of team coverage to break down as well, so stay tuned for all that as we're going to break it all down here on NBA Now by Chat Sports. We got producer Sam rocking with us. He's chasing here on Harrison Graham. Stick with us here on NBA Now by Chat Sports. You're watching any Given Thursday NBA Now edition. Harrison Graham and Chase Senior here from Chat Sports. Lots of news, rumors to dissect. Around a lot of big names here, Chase. None bigger than Kevin Durant, who returns to the lineup tonight, and the Nets need him desperately as they've been struggling for the past month and a half.
Yeah, working off that, he comes back for the Nets at the right time because the Nets over the last couple of months have not been playing a clean brand of basketball, and you'd like to see what the Brooklyn Nets are in full strength with Kevin Durant now back in the lineup. But as we're about to talk about in a few minutes, we don't know what's going on with Ben Simmons, if he's going to come back, and if he does, when he's going to come back, if he's going to come back at all. But to get Kevin Durant back for Brooklyn, a massive reinforcement. Prior to this injury, you can make the argument he was the best player in the NBA. I think he's the most deadly offensive player when he is upright and healthy. And before he got injured, he was playing fantastic basketball prior to missing the past month with that knee injury. 29 plus points per game, 7.5 rebounds, a little less than 6 dimes. And KD, with volume, has always been one of the most efficient offensive players in the league. And I can't wait to see what Brooklyn is able to do with him at full strength. And if Ben Simmons is another addition to the Nets, it makes them really interesting in the East, because I actually think Ben Simmons on that roster is a very good fit. He's a very good passer, and even if he doesn't want to shoot the basketball, he doesn't have to on that team with Kyrie Irving and KD.
And yeah, we'll certainly get you guys caught up on what's going on with Simmons. Specifically here in just a few moments, here's what KD had to say about re-entering the lineup for Brooklyn. Quote, I don't look at myself as that as a savior, but I know what I can do and how much I can help this team and what we're missing as a group. But I'm not saying to go out there and win a game by myself tonight or make it all about me. I just try to go out there, help be a good teammate, do what I do, I know what I bring to the table, and try to do it to the best of my abilities.
Yeah, and KD coming back to the Nets makes the Eastern Conference even crazier, Harrison, than it already is. I mean, there is not a large gap between the top team in the East and some of the teams that are even in the play-in tournament. And when you look at the Eastern Conference and you gander at the standings, I'm not sure who's going to come out of the East. I like the Miami Heat. I like the Milwaukee Bucks. Really love the Philadelphia 76ers with the addition of James Harden, because that two-man game with Joel Embiid has been dominant. And then Tyrese Maxey has been a fantastic third component, but they have some flaws with some of their depth issues. And then the Boston Celtics, the Cleveland Cavaliers. There are a bunch of teams in the thick of the race in the East, and KD, him coming back makes the Nets very, very fascinating, because if he's right, if he is in a normal team, MVP type KD, they can win the NBA Finals. That's how good he is.
Yeah, and you know, if Kyrie gets to a point where he can be a full-time player, obviously that stuff is still playing itself out. It doesn't really matter what the season is like. As long as they're in the playoffs, they're going to be a threat to win the Eastern Conference. So we'll ask you guys, are the Nets defense to win the East with Kevin Durant back? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Get your votes in down in the comment section. Now, big announcement here from Chat Sports, NBA Now by Chat Sports, and several of our other channels as well. You can now watch us over on Rumble. All of our NBA content, news, rumors, potentially some exclusive content in the future as well. Watch me, Chase Senior, as well, other hosts here at Chat Sports. The link is below, rumble.com/NBA Now. Chase, Rumble video platform.
Piece of shit kicker, bro.
And here, if you want, as well, you're in the news and all.
On a perks or something? Sabotage, nigga, yo.
From us specifically, it's more the same. We're NBA.
Cheap. It's a cheap
Here
card,
at Chat
man.
Sports as a company, we have versatility to our game, right? We cover news, rumors in an entertaining, informative, fun way. We can be serious, we can also have fun. We also have versatility with our platforms, right? Not everybody takes in and absorbs their content on YouTube, so this is yet another way for you to watch us at Chat Sports. You can watch us on Rumble, and if you're like me, I hate cancel culture, and sometimes these other platforms, they like cancel culture. Rumble does not.
Rumble.com/NBA Now. Link in the comments and in the description. Let's get to the latest on Ben Simmons as we move along here in connection to the Nets. Of course, a report dropping earlier this week on Wednesday that appears to have had some kind of setback with his back injury. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on with Simmons. Obviously, he has not played this year. It's unclear how much he was working out before the trade went down, as he was obviously not going to play for Philadelphia before that happened. A couple of things are clear. One, he's not going to play with the return we've been waiting for against Philadelphia in Philly on March 10th. That will not happen. And also, he may not play for the entire month of March, which brings us to the question, Chase. Is he going to return at all this year? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And for that reason, and the fact that the Sixers are humming right now, James Harden looks to be his old MVP self. Him alongside Embiid and Maxey, as we talked about, looks to be a really dynamic trio. And
oh, man, I know he's going to take, but man, bro.
Yeah, the fact that the Sixers are yielding immediate results from James Harden. And then up I-95 in Brooklyn, the Nets have yet to see Ben Simmons take the floor, and there are legitimate questions as to whether or not he's going to play all year. Leads me to say that the Sixers won the trade. First of all, they got the better player. They didn't give up Tyrese Maxey or Matisse Thybulle, who are two young building blocks on this Philadelphia roster. And if Brooklyn doesn't have Ben Simmons, their potential is somewhat limited, where I think the Sixers' potential with James Harden is limitless.
Yeah, and look, I mean, time will tell how this trade ends up playing out. But in the short term, there's no doubt who won the trade. Let's just say they don't have Simmons this year. When KD and Kyrie signed to play with the Nets, this would say, hey, let's win as many titles as we can in this 3 to 5 year period. Well, if it doesn't happen this year, which it's that much harder without Simmons because you lost Harden already in the trade, it's going to be hard to pull that off. Now, could it still happen if KD and Kyrie are healthy? Absolutely. They could carry this team to a championship, but having Ben Simmons obviously would help. Here's what I'll say, though, about the back injury. There's a lot of speculation. Does he not want to play yet? There's all the mental stuff, mental health stuff he was claiming in Philadelphia, and it's unclear if that just went away after he got traded. I will say this. I mean, this is all March. There probably is some sort of injury, which creates an even larger issue. Like, okay, he's already not played at all this year. Now there's an actual issue physically with him. We know mentally it's been a challenging process for Simmons trying to, flush what happened in the playoffs last year. With Philadelphia stuff. Yeah, I would say so far there's no doubt that was the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah, and look, you can't really compare the games of Ben Simmons and James Harden because they're two completely different players. I've said this, I think Ben Simmons is a really good addition to the Brooklyn Nets. I think he can be Kevin Durant, Draymond Green that he flourished with when he was playing for Golden State. Ben Simmons does a lot of the same things. He's the best defender in the NBA, in my opinion, and according to many people out there, because he can guard multiple positions. You can say what you want about him not being willing to shoot, but he's an elite passer. He can finish around the rim, and playing with KD and Kyrie puts him in a spot where he can be successful because the pressure is not on him like it was in Philadelphia, which he obviously cratered.
Make sure you guys subscribe to us here at Chat Sports for the latest NBA news and rumors. As more Ben Simmons storylines and updates unfold, we will have you covered here at Chat Sports. Link is down below to stay up to date with everything we're doing here on this channel. All right, one more big superstar to go, and then we'll catch you guys up on this epic MVP race that we're witnessing. Zion Williamson. Maybe, just maybe, he has a chance to play this year, Chase. A report dropping yesterday that foot is improving and that he's going to slowly ramp up and do some basketball activities. Now, with only 22 games left, is he going to play this year? I don't really know, but, maybe he gets healthy by the end of this year, even if he doesn't play. Full healthy offseason reps with CJ McCollum and this new core. Maybe come next year, the Pelicans are a force to the West.
We could talk about Zion Williamson coming back this year. I don't believe he's coming back. And if I'm wrong, I'll certainly eat the crow. I don't think he's coming back for a couple of reasons. One, I don't think he's right. Two, that foot issue is still a serious problem. Three, I don't think the weight issues have gone away. And the Pelicans want to try to convince him to stay long-term in New Orleans because they went out, they made that trade for CJ McCollum, who's really been falling out since coming to the Big Easy. They have other good young pieces on that roster, like Brandon Ingram, as well as Devontae Graham. Jonas Valanciunas called out against the Lakers the other night. Zion Williamson, when healthy, is a fabulous player. Career stats of almost 26 points per game, 7 boards, shooting around 60% from the floor. But the Pelicans need him to be right for him to maximize his own abilities. And look, I know the Pelicans have been playing well. They were in the mix to make it into the NBA play-in tournament. That win over the weekend against the Lakers was really, really impressive. And for that, they're moving in the right direction. Shout out to Willie Green, first-year head coach, for really doing a terrific job coming over from the Phoenix Suns when he was an assistant under Monty Williams. He's a great head coach. They have some good young pieces moving forward, but as part of that core, they need Zion.
to this day.